What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unknown Destination, the podcast where we don't know where we are going or where we're going to end up. My name's Justin. That is Andrew, and it's a new week.
Yeah, it is. I know that you've been following the craziness that is our free market. So I know that we were talking about that a little bit before the show.
We were, as Andrew mentioned, we were talking about it before the show. I actually just dumped some money into AMC and into GameStop. Obviously, we aren't the people to be giving you trading advice, but let's see.
But I'll jump on any hype train. You get me hype enough, I'm there.
I've made $3 so far, so there's that. Yeah, but GameStop was down to $84 at the time that I bought it, so it'll be interesting to see next week when we record this if I've made a decent amount of money or if I've lost everything with how hard it's crashing today.
Yeah, you just gotta have them diamond hands. You can't be a soggy paper hand boy. I'm going to jump right into some airline news. Get us started here. That kind of a good note to start on here. There's going to be 2 new Korean airlines that are going to be launching here in the next month or so. They are domestic, the kind of more budget carriers, but just to see new airlines launching in this market is a good sign regardless. And if you are one of those people that try to travel on a budget and you don't really care how you get there, couple more options to look into. They're called one of them is Air Premia, and then the other one's Air OK. So these are brand new budget carriers.
Wait, Air OK?
Air OK.
How is that spelled?
Like arrow, like the aviation of arrow,
yeah,
and then just the letter K. So kind of, I'm assuming just Air Korea is Aero Korea.
Yeah, I see that it. So they're based out of Seoul, and they received certification to operate.
Starting next month. Yep.
So Air OK, not Air OK, because Air OK was concerning me because I don't think I would want to fly on an airline called Air OK.
If the price is right, I guess that's why they're budget carriers.
Well, Spirit, we have a new name for you. Air OK.
Air subpar.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, do you have more on that?
No, nothing more on that. I was just going to keep the airlines.
Yeah, I have something from the airlines, and it's something a little bit depressing, but United and Hawaiian Airlines this past week actually have warned of possible furloughs for 15,000 workers. This comes after, obviously, bailouts of the airline by the U.S. government here in stimulus packages. It just hasn't been enough. So yet again, we see United struggling.
Yeah, honestly, not surprised. That's it. It seems like they've not really been that prepared for anything that's happened in the past year or so. And this just kind of furthers that point.
Yeah, it said that in December, CEO Scott Kirby actually did warn that most of the recalls that they made were only going to be temporary. Out of the 14,000 staff, this would include 12,000 flight attendants. So that's who's really getting hit the hardest here.
That's a lot. That is a lot of flight attendants.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, Hawaiian Airlines was in the article as well, but the article said 15,000 possible furloughs. Well, 14,000 of them were United. So Hawaiian Airlines didn't send out a notice of possible furloughs to 900 staff members. As of right now, there's speculation that they probably aren't alone. American Airlines CEO Doug Parker told investors that the carrier would likely need to address staffing levels shortly. And they're kind of anticipating that that's going to be a thing again. So yet again, we're seeing the airline industry take major financial hits to the point where they're having to lay off workers. And I think until everybody's vaccinated, that's kind of just going to be a trend we see continuing.
Yeah, until people feel safe traveling again, I would agree that we're probably going to see more layoffs and this kind of thing happening until the demand is back.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because feeling safe traveling, I think for myself, and I think I can probably speak for you on this as well, I would feel significantly safer on an aircraft where everybody's been tested for COVID. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think that it's kind of ridiculous that we're not at that state at this point where even no matter where you're flying, or any kind of traveling in a group, like any kind of public transit or anything like that.
Right. And the reason that I bring that up is because there's talk of a COVID-19 test mandate coming for domestic flights here in the US. Well, the Airlines for America, it's the leading industry trade organization for all the top US airlines, released a statement this past Friday calling the move unwarranted, saying that it would disproportionately prevent low income and rural Americans who may not have access to pre travel testing from traveling. And they said, given the strong scientific evidence that the risk of COVID 19 transmission on board an aircraft is very low, we believe that a testing requirement for domestic air travel is unwarranted. I will say, I do understand the concern there of people not having access to the tests. So I definitely think that needs to be something that is either provided by the government or provided by the airlines. But I don't think the solution here is to just say it's unwarranted.
Yeah, it's kind of them just passing the buck to the next group of saying, "Well, I don't think we should do this. If you want to do this, then you need to figure out how we're going to do it." And
Yeah,
um, kind of using low income people as the scapegoat is kind of gross
it
in
is.
this way, because I don't know very many low income people that are traveling anywhere or doing anything that like this right now. And if they're worried about, getting to work, um I I I don't understand why they're so against this idea.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all either, especially because, these are with a trade organization like this is going to help the airlines. If there's more testing capability and you're able to feel safer traveling, more people are going to travel.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and it might actually spark some people, taking more trips in a safe way. Because
right.
where Justin and I are saying, you shouldn't be traveling in quarantine and all that good stuff. That's more so because of how the majority, I shouldn't say the majority, maybe the minority of people are handling this pandemic, where not really taking it that seriously. And, I'm healthy, I'm young, who cares if I get it? That mentality is still there, unfortunately.
For sure.
So I think if you can travel in a safe way, absolutely go for it. I don't think that this should be stopping you from doing that. It's just you can't really travel too many places right now, at least if you're looking to go international.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, I'm not saying you shouldn't do anything. This past weekend was my birthday, and I actually stayed at a local hotel with my wife, and it was a really good time. We stayed in an Embassy Suites. I was originally going to do a room tour, but since we were staying on her employee rate, I decided I didn't necessarily feel comfortable doing that and, reviewing them on a rate where I got a huge discount. But it was a great experience. The room was clean and you could tell they were doing a lot of extra to make sure the hotel was safe. And the reason I brought that up is the most surprising thing to me was they were serving a hot breakfast that was included. And up to this point, since the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of hotels had switched over to like grab and go bags with like a muffin or a bottle of juice or whatever. And this
Hmm.
was buffet style. It was just the hotel staff served you instead of you getting it yourself. And it was nice.
Sounds amazing.
It was. Not to mention Embassy Suites. If you ever stay there, you do get two free drink tickets with your room for free drinks in the afternoon. And that's nice too. It's definitely bottom shelf alcohol, but it's still free alcohol.
Right. Um, getting back into kind of the air world, I had a couple quick articles here. One of them is that JetBlue is upgrading its Mint cabins. So
Oh,
this is their business class cabin, planning to debut it when it launches service to London in the summer. So the upgraded cabin is going to be on select flights from New York and Los Angeles. So basically the two gateways that you'd be taking there. Um, from what I'm looking at, just from a quick glance at the pictures of what they're doing as opposed to what they had before, JetBlue's always, I've never had a problem with their business class layout as some of the other airlines, but it does look like this Mint cabin is going to be pretty sick. They've got it looks like there's going to be privacy doors now on a lot of these, which honestly, a lot of these upgrades make sense in our current pandemic world, where people are wanting to be, in their own space, especially if you're flying that business first class kind of experience. Um, but yeah, that's just something little that I saw here. So a lot of airlines are doing upgrades now to kind of get ready for this post-pandemic world, I think.
Well, and that's awesome, especially with JetBlue. Mint was considered one of the top business classes on a domestic carrier for any airline. So to see them upgrading something where they're already highly rated just shows how dedicated they are to innovation and making sure things are up to date.
Hmm.
Um, I just found another article that I wanted to address because of the article I already brought up. So we brought up that these airline trade organizations are upset about the COVID testing. Well, there's an article here from yesterday, actually, from The Hill, that it's about airline employees applauding the new federal mask mandate. So, although some people in the industry may be against testing, it seems like everyone in the industry is incredibly happy about the mask mandate. Uh, this is a statement from Sarah Nelson from the Association of Flight Attendants. It says, our union has been advocating for almost a year for a federal fast mask mandate in aviation. A federal mandate with public messaging and clear enforcement mechanisms for federal agencies like TSA will go far to keeping everyone safe. And I think the reason that you're seeing such excitement from the flight attendants is because we did have so many people that were getting on planes and, throwing fits and refusing to wear their mask. And it's gone from something where it's just an airline rule where they have to argue it to being like, hey, listen, it's a federal mandate. You don't have a choice.
Right.
And I think that makes it easier on them. So it's kind of funny. You're seeing the employees say something that, even though it's the mask mandate and not testing, I feel like you have the flight attendant unions kind of coming out and saying the opposite thing is the people that are in these trade organizations, which are really more about, their bottom line.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a really good point to make, that kind of airports were more of a free for all. Everybody kind of just did what they want, but now with it being, federally mandated, it's you could have a TSA agent see you with, not wearing a mask, and they're probably going to be a little bit lenient. I would say in the beginning, like if you have your mask on and it's maybe just not on properly, you're probably they might say something, but you're probably not going to get in trouble. If you just straight up don't have a mask anywhere on you, I could see you getting thrown out. 100%, just because it's not like one of those, oh well, you could always make the argument. It's going to be a lot of that arguing. Well, I was just about to eat something, I was just making a phone call, or I was just doing this. Whereas if you just don't have a mask on your person, it's going to be a little bit easier to enforce.
Right. Um, do you have more airline stuff?
Yeah, I have a couple more.
Cool.
I've got American Airlines. They're bringing back pre-order meals for Transcon and Hawaii flights.
Nice.
Um, so this is going to be rolling back out. It looks like pretty soon here, starting February 10th. So anybody that's not familiar with it, you between like 30 days out and 24 hours before a flight, you could pick what kind of meal you wanted for these flights. And this was all suspended basically for the past year and a half since COVID hit the world. So it looks like they're bringing that back. Delta is also on pace to bring it back. They just haven't announced any kind of routing yet. So keep an eye out for that. Um, Another kind of more international news, Air Europa is now competing directly with Iberia on 80% of the routes from Madrid. So, competition wise, this is huge because it's going to impact prices a lot, with having that kind of two major airlines competing on the majority of the same routes. This so 45 out of the 56 routes from Madrid, Air Europa is now competing with Iberia on. So Iberia is part of the American. If you ever fly international somewhere and you're going on Iberia, it's probably a code share with American Airlines. They work very tandem to get their international routing. So um, that's all I had on that particular article, and I think that is actually that's all I have on air. If you have anything else.
I do. I have one more thing, and this one is just about a delay of a very heavily anticipated routing for Delta Airlines. Now, as most people know, one of the big COVID vaccine, or not vaccine, one of the big COVID strains that's becoming a concern is in South Africa. Uh, it's known for being more contagious. Well, because of that, there was going to be a new triangle route from Delta to Johannesburg and Cape Town that was going to be taking off March 27th. Because of everything going on, that has now been pushed back until June 1st.
Hmm.
So that's a pretty big deal. That flight was heavily anticipated because there aren't that many flights that go from the US and then connect Johannesburg and Cape Town. Uh, so,
Yeah, Africa's kind of hard to get to.
it is. And that adds another, it kind of adds another domestic route for Africa too, being able to go
Hmm.
between the two. So, big deal, but, it's not necessarily an unexpected delay with the pandemic and everything going on, but it's there.
Okay. I want to just a little bit of. I know a lot of people have preconceived notions about certain parts of the world just based on how they grew up. Certain a lot of people when they think Middle East, you just think of Iraq and war, that kind of thing. Um, but Qatar actually was ranked the safest country in the world again in
Wow.
2020, with Doha ranking the second safest city in the world. So just kind of putting that out there that some of the nicest places to visit are places that you wouldn't necessarily think of you wouldn't think of traveling to.
Yeah, I think that's definitely worth mentioning because people do have this negative view of countries just because they're in the Middle East.
Hmm.
Dubai, another amazingly beautiful place to visit.
City of
One,
Gold.
yeah, somewhere I really want to go. And like, I don't even know how to compare it to a city here in the US. Dubai is
You
a
can't.
very, very rich place. And if you're into like luxury cars or luxury brands and things like that, definitely a place you want to go visit.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Hyatt is now launching their long stay offers to business travelers. We talked about this a few months ago that they were kind of working on something like this. So they've launched, they're calling it the Great Relocate. It's a long stay package catering to pent up consumers that for travel and longer stays abroad. So this is the package includes ways that they can work remotely. And the coolest thing about this that I saw was that they actually have your own like IT tech support almost on hand. So that way, if you are working, obviously, if you're working remotely and you're having issues, or maybe you're just not that comfortable or confident with technology that you're going to be using, they do have someone on hand to assist with that.
Right on.
Let's see. This says they conducted a survey, and more than 80% of employers are now said to be expanding offers to their employees to work remotely. So
Wow.
this is pretty big that they're jumping on this. That's that's why they have quote unquote created the Great Relocate, because they're offering kind of a luxury stay for the business traveler that is they're able to continue working. So it looks like offers valid across Hyatt hotels in Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Southwest Asia. So those are currently where this is taking place.
That's really cool and smart on their part. And I see it includes a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
25% off food and beverage, 25% off laundry services.
Yeah, it looks like you're getting your money's worth for sure
Yeah.
on doing this. Which also I saw another article that kind of this is spurring a new type of business travel where they think that by in the next 5 years or so that they're going to be everyone is going to be basically a business traveler because you're going to be able to work from anywhere. So it's going to open up a lot more opportunities for the business traveler to go out and see the world just while they're working. So I'm anyone that knows me, I that's kind of been my end game goal for my entire working career was to find a job that I could do anywhere in the world. And because of the pandemic, we're kind of seeing that a lot of companies are realizing that it doesn't matter where you're at. You can still be working there. So I am very excited to see where we go in the next few years when it comes to business travel and working from home, because that's obviously something that is huge on my own personal priority list.
Yeah, I was just looking at that package and like you said, there's a lot of major cities. Dubai, one of the nicest hotels in Dubai, the Palm is actually included in that rate from Hyatt. So it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, that's awesome. The very last thing that I had for this week was that I saw that the American Queen and Victoria cruise lines are going to be requiring vaccinations. So
Awesome.
starting July 1st.
I
And I believe that these are both, I think these are UK um, companies. Just trying to see here.
Yeah, I believe you are correct.
American Queen. Oh no, never mind. So those look. I think that those are U.S. here because I don't know. It
Oh,
looks like they're following. Either way, they're not the first. I don't think they're the first cruise companies to say that they're going to be requiring vaccines, but just a couple more that are jumping on board for requiring this because they feel that by July their main clientele is 65 and over.
yeah,
So
they should
their
all have
thought, yeah,
them.
their thought process is that everybody that wants to cruise that is their clientele should be vaccinated by then.
I think that's fair, and I think that's awesome. That means if you are older and want to take a cruise and you've had your vaccination, it's going to be pretty much the safest way to travel come
Yep.
July. So
Yep.
that's definitely something to look into. I do have one little thing on hotels, and it's kind of some sad news, but I want to bring it up. The CEO of Marriott, Arne Sorensen,
Okay.
has pancreatic cancer, and it's been an issue for him a while now. But he's going to be reducing his work schedule to further undergo cancer treatment. So other people are going to be stepping up within Marriott's organization to take over. So we definitely wish him well and hope he gets through that.
Yeah, that's been all over the travel news this morning. Hopefully he's taking care of himself. I don't even know what that would mean that he's reducing his work. I can't even imagine still working at all while
Right.
this is going on. But to each their own. Hopefully he puts his health before his responsibilities at the company.
I would agree with that. And yeah. Other than that, though, I don't have much else for this week. You got more?
No, it was a pretty slow week. Most of the news that was going on, I think everybody was focused on Wall Street. So I think we not too many new things are happening right now. A lot of it is hindering or not hindering, but
In a world.
Every time, man.
but waiting. I think a lot of it are waiting on the new administration to kind of sign some more things because I know a lot of people are waiting on bated breath for that.
I would agree with that, including me here, waiting to see what this next stimulus package is going to be, see what all it's going to include. And hopefully by the time we do this next week, we'll have more information. But right now, I think it's time for me to have less tech issues and stop playing this at the wrong time. And
In a world where a single quote can inspire and drive the most stubborn of mules, Unknown Destination is here to deliver.
Okay. This week's kind of inspirational quote here. Man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. So again, it's kind of everything. It's kind of all stems together with getting out of your comfort zone, which I think is a good thing to reinforce nowadays into people that are everybody's kind of shut in.
I would agree. And I think we're definitely going to see more people pushing to get out of their comfort zone. So hopefully that happens here within the next few months when everything gets back to somewhat normal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'd like to thank you guys again for tuning in to another Unknown Destination. I'm Andrew, that is Justin. And if you do like this content, please like and subscribe. Leave any kind of notes that you may have for us, what you liked, what you didn't. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you.
See y'all later.